Hello, everyone, and welcome back. On today's episode, we are discussing the recent and current trend of Americans leaving the U.S. We're also talking about the role of anger in the spectrum of human emotion and how and when we use it. And later on, we even get a little bit more intimate. So stick around. I'm Jason LeCompte,
And I'm Sean Millhouse.
and this is Collect Your Thoughts. Hey, Sean.
Hi. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm good. I'm maybe a little underslept today, but it's Monday, so I don't know. I just kind of always figure Monday's gonna kind of crawl by a little bit. But
Yes.
how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm also feeling a little sleepy today, but I took a day off just to
Nice.
give myself a little buffer after some time away, and that was nice. And so, yeah, hopefully I'm charged for the week ahead. But I just don't know if I'm ever ready to begin. So, I'm just doing the best I can.
Sure.
I'm happy to be here. That's the most important part.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. How have
Yeah.
things been for you?
Um. Fine, I guess. Yeah. It's we had kind of a cold weather snap.
Oh,
When
it's
we're
so
recording
brutal.
this is really brutal this morning. We all got used to like 60s and 70s in this neck of the woods, and we all know it's false spring, but we woke
Mhm.
up this morning to like 19 degrees, and it was just awful. Like the dog was shivering. I had to warm up the car. Like it's like the middle of winter again. But
Yes.
thankfully, it'll be gone. It's 48 hours. It's the last gasp of winter, I'm hoping. So,
I hope you're
yeah.
right. Because yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely I had to go and get gas
Mm.
today after running some errands, and I was miserable waiting. I was just like, "Why is this taking 9,000 years? I feel like I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
die because it
Yeah.
has been truly so, like, incredibly nice out and,
Yeah.
like, 65 plus weather that we've been getting it's sunny, so I'm grateful for that, but it's
Hmm.
cold and it's breezy, and that combo is just not fun. It's just
Well,
not
and I'm
fun.
going to
It's
visit some family this weekend on the West Coast, and in the Pacific Northwest, and they actually just got snow.
oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, do I need to bring boots and a hat and gloves, or can I? Yeah. So yeah.
Does the weather
Yeah.
look promising, or is
It
it
looks,
gonna be,
it's
like
definitely warmer. Yeah, it'll be
okay.
fine. It'll still be sweater weather, but yeah, it'll be better than. I don't think there's any snow.
Oh, good. Well, hey, that's
Yeah.
about as good as you can ask for at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, how about we get into it?
Let's do it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're going to start off this week's collection with something that really stuck out to me. I feel like it's it's a conversation that I'm having with probably half a dozen of my clients at any given
Mhm.
point. But it's also a conversation that like I'm having with myself and sort of loosely with my partner as well. And it's about it's about the state of things in the U.S. and considering leaving the US, which apparently last year Americans did in record numbers. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about this. I've been seeing more and more of a trend of this.
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually the Wall Street Journal covered it, which I was like, okay, this is real. But they did an analysis, and they reported recently there was in 2025 there was a negative net emigration from the US, meaning more people left the US last year than actually moved in, which I think is the first time that has ever happened. There's been
Like, ever,
fluctuations
ever?
in emigration. Yeah, ever.
Wow.
Like people are looking at the US and going, I don't want to fucking live there. And people who live here are like, I got to get the hell out.
Yeah.
It's really staggering.
Yeah, yeah. I think that if I remember correctly, also just general tourism to the United States
I've also
is
seen that.
also significantly down
It's
for
definitely dropped. Yeah.
many, I think,
Yeah.
valid reasons.
Yeah. I mean, well, there are some other countries, I've seen that in that same vein. Other countries are issuing warnings to their citizens about traveling to the US, especially specific parts of the US, but just the
Yes.
US in general. Like, if you are
Mhm.
trans in particular, right? Like, that is not something that they're advising their citizens to. They're just saying, just don't go there. Like, you don't know what you're going to run into, which is a horrifying reality. Like, I can't believe that that is the US. We're supposed to be the freest and most prosperous country on the planet, and we have a growing trend of our own citizens leaving for, various, there's a whole host of reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really awful. So some of the stuff that I was seeing in the Wall Street Journal article was, a lot of it is down to like the shifting political and cultural landscape, but they're talking about like just the disillusionment with the current administration and, the decisions that they're making. We're even now, as this is airing, like we're, over a month into what the media is now calling the Iran war, which I hesitate to even call it the Iran war, but I mean, it's
It is war and
it's
it's happening in Iran.
it's true, but it's also our president, like, basically like playing war by pressing buttons and ordering airstrikes on what is seemingly a defenseless country, at least in comparison.
Right.
So it's really awful. And I actually have family there. My cousin, her husband's family is from there, and a lot of them still
Mm.
live there. And so it's got a personal note for me as well. But I don't want to get too far into that. It's really
Yeah.
just it's more about the political disillusionment, rising costs, and then what's kind of facilitating it is remote work flexibility. Like, people are able to take their job here and move overseas, right, and wherever they want to go,
Yeah.
and just do that work remotely. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's great. You can continue to do that, right, and enjoy a different culture, a different political climate, a different, weather.
Yeah.
I feel like, have at it, right? That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you can
Even,
do it, then
yeah,
great.
even healthcare. They're talking about, moving for affordable healthcare, which is also, I can't tell you how many people I have heard not be able to pay their healthcare premiums. They're having to make decisions between, do I pay my bills, my other bills, right? Or do I buy food, or do I do this, or do I do that? Or do I pay my healthcare premiums? And most people
Yeah.
are just choosing, unless they have significant conditions that they have to cover, they're just choosing to drop them because of how expensive it's gotten.
It's
It's
terrible.
it's a
It's
brutal
it's truly a
reality.
travesty and tragedy
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so some of the places that Americans are escaping to are our neighbors, Mexico and Canada, but also a lot of places in Europe, like the UK, Germany, Spain, Portugal, and even as far away as Australia, which I was like, that's a commitment. If you're gonna pick up and move to Australia, like, you're probably not coming back very often. That's an
No.
expensive and long flight.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think that says about the US?
It says that the US is a dumpster fire right now that truly, going back to, I have to stop mid sentence because even as you said, that part where you're like, we're supposed to be the freest and the most prosperous. And I feel like there's something, not that we don't have greatness in this country, but I also feel like I've been fed propaganda about how great the US is ever
Yes.
since I was a kid in history
Since we were kids,
class.
right? Mhm.
There are so many things that are left out of American history that you don't really hear about until, if you're lucky, high school or hopefully in college if you choose to
Right.
go that route and are able to. And when I think about the fact that we are a developed country and don't have healthcare that does truly take care of everything, that it's considered a privilege and not a given right, that to me is always gonna be something that is not okay, and I think that a lot of people would say that maybe they have freedoms here that are very different than what they have back in their home countries, and so I think for that perspective, I
Mhm.
appreciate that, and also it it is, but also there's a guise of, well, for certain people at certain places, like there's eventually like a limit you almost hit in unless you unlock some magic lottery of whether your talents are deeply in need, you happen to have the genetics that give you that opportunity, or I don't know, just various factors. And so
Mm,
so in saying all that, there is part of me that's like, right now it makes a lot of sense to want to get out of this country. It's a terrifying time to be in this country and to know what our current administration is doing to other people.
yeah.
I do not stand for it. I'm very against it, and it's definitely something I think about. Like, what is my future here? And I hate the thought of completely disrupting my life for that.
I never would have, as a kid, I never would have thought that we would be in this place. It was, political differences were normal. I remember
Yeah.
probably as young as like sixth or seventh grade, like there being upcoming presidential election, and we would be in civics class or something, and we'd be talking about it, and we would do like a mock vote or something,
Hmm.
Democrats and Republicans and blah blah blah. So I remember there being differences early on, but I've never seen it so polarized, and I've never seen leadership like, and I use that term really loosely, like we have in this country.
Yeah.
It's I don't even know how to describe it. I'm kind of at a loss for words around like what exactly is happening. Did you ever? So I'm gonna jump tracks here just for a
Yeah.
second. Did you ever read any of Project 2025?
Only I never
Yeah,
intensely. I mean, just
yeah.
just from what it was reported in headlines and in, breakdowns of it.
Yeah. I didn't get too far into it because it was gonna be, it's super dystopian and right out of The Handmaid's Tale, and I didn't I didn't want to, like, deep dive into it, but I definitely did, like,
Yeah.
as kind of a scan of some of the first phase of it or whatever, and, I mean, we're essentially following what they set out to do.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there was some conservative think tank that came up with this plan. For anybody who's listening who doesn't know what that is, they came up with this plan for if and when the Republicans take over from the presidential election, and then also the Congress and all that. Like they basically decided like they're going to do a step by step dismantling of all of the progressive rights in the U.S.
Yes.
And they're doing it. They attacked abortion. They're attacking trans rights. They're now, I mean, ICE is rampant in some places, in some cities, like treating people horribly. It basically,
Killing people, let's just put it out there.
killing people, yes, but it's basically trial without jury. Like
Yeah.
they're just, yeah, sentencing them. So it's an awful state of affairs, and I don't know how. I don't know that it's getting better, but I wanted to just call that out, just because I mean that to me sets the tone, right?
Of
If
course.
anyone knows anything about that Project 2025, like that really, that's the playbook that they're operating from, and that is what is happening here. And so that's why those of us who are aware and I guess are well resourced and are able to are jumping ship, and we're like, fuck this place, it's on fire, we got to get out.
Yeah.
Which
And
is not awesome.
having any sort of memory, whether you liked her or not, Kamala Harris said that all of this was going to happen if Donald Trump was reelected.
Yeah.
All of this,
Mm,
step by step, it
yeah.
has just continued to be a succession of all of these horrible, those of us heard at the time, threats
Hmm.
are now either in reality or are attempting to become real. And I don't recognize this country in a lot of ways, and I also
Right.
don't recognize the people who are completely not they're unencumbered. They are not even thinking about any of this stuff. There are some people who truly, "Oh, well, it's just a little too dark." Well, yeah, no shit, it's dark. That's what happens. Like
Hmm.
you can't just go, "Oh, well, this part over here is struggling, but you know what? My immediate neighborhood is fine, so I'm just gonna, I don't know, wash my hands of it." We can't do that. That is not taking care of our people. We have to take care of
Right.
all of our people, not
Right.
just the parts that we are comfortable with. So
Yeah.
even if I don't agree with the MAGA asshole that's flying stupid ass flags on the back of their giant truck, making up for their whatever, that is their goddamn right to do that.
Yeah.
And that whatever. And I wouldn't take that from them. However, anyway, I'm just it's just I don't
You
have
get
feelings about this.
nope, none. Nope. Totally neutral. Do you ever like? Sometimes I, I don't know why I do this to myself. It's probably like a form of spiraling or something. But like, do you ever go like long term? Like what is if this trend just continues like the next 20, 30 years? Like what what's it going to look like? Well, whatever. I mean, we both identify as gay. Like,
Yeah.
are we next?
I mean, we're all next. I think that's the
Yeah.
greatest illusion is for anybody to think that they are above this. The only people
Hmm.
who might not get hurt in all this are
Hmm.
powerful billionaires. You know, that's about and the people that are leeching off of them very closely.
Yeah.
It will come for no matter what religion you celebrate, no matter what where you live, no matter what you believe in, there will eventually be a point where every person goes, wait, this isn't what I voted for, or this isn't what I wanted, or
Right.
whatever. But until it hits some people, people don't give a shit until, something bad happens. And so that to me is such
Yeah.
a big piece of this.
Do you have an exit plan?
I don't have a set
I
exit
feel like
plan at the
ridiculous
moment.
asking that question, but like, I mean, it's
No, I
real.
I I do not.
Yeah.
However, the thought of it comes up all the time. I will say the beginning of that was getting my birth certificate from my
Oh,
mom. So
yeah.
that part of it was because I know that I do want to get I need to renew my passport. It's been
Yeah.
forever. But also because I want to have my passport secure so
Hmm.
that I can get the fuck out of here. That's
Yeah.
also part of what's so scary about all these things changing is that part of what they are trying to pass currently in Congress is the SAVE Act, which is basically coming up with these like really increasingly high restrictions on how you can vote. And part of that
Mm.
is asking for people to have passports, and I believe it's only like 50% of Americans have passports, especially compared to other countries.
Yeah. Not everybody I know has an active passport. Yeah.
Well, that's also partly because a lot of people have never even allowed themselves to dream they could leave this country
Right.
because, again, of how fruitful and free we are. I think we are like, well, I never need to leave. I love my country, and it's like,
Yeah.
but that there's a lot of world out there you're missing out on by living like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm really grateful for is that I was able to, as a really young person, I was 17 the first time I left the country to travel, and it changed my life. Like it changed my perspective that I could go 8, 9, 10 hours away to a completely different country and culture, and it was not my country, and
Hmm.
it just expanded my mind in a way that a book or a TV show or a movie like could never do.
Hmm.
Right, I got to put my feet on other soil, and like it smells different, and it looks and sounds different, and people talk different, and it's just really like it is really an eye opening experience. So if
Yeah.
anybody listening has the means, like go check out other places. And then
Yeah.
if you carry any kind of minority identity and have any kind of resource, I mean, I think we owe it to ourselves to at least think of a plan, that something loose, some kind of plan B in case, I don't know, in case we come after us, or in case you can't afford to be here anymore, or whatever the things are that are making people leave.
I
So
think
bleak.
the midterms are gonna decide a lot of
Yeah.
what people wanna do or feel like they need to do next, because right now it feels very ominous, almost like, are we going to have our midterms the way they are? Because
It
there are
does.
increased reports of this administration trying to get voter rolls from the 2020 elections because they're
Yeah.
still trying to run this narrative that that election was stolen despite all sorts of recounts, despite all sorts of court cases that have
Yep.
held up the fact that it was a free and fair election with no voter fraud found. Like I think I heard somewhere that it's like 0.004 is like the people that vote fraudulently, so to speak. A lot of times it's
Hmm.
people who don't realize they can't vote. Like there's a disconnect on like for people who move here. I don't know if it's they just don't realize it, but
Sure. Yeah.
or whatever. But those votes are thrown out. They are not kept in.
Right.
And so I think we just have a lot of deep, dark nights of the soul in us ahead of us right now that I think we all have to contend with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as a younger man, I would I mean, I know that I did. I used to get really spun up, really, really angry about a lot of this stuff.
Mhm,
Um, I don't know if you grow out of that, if I don't have the energy anymore, or if I've just learned different things. But now it's just makes me sad. I think
mhm,
it just makes me worried for future generations and anyone of a minority identity, anyone with a uterus, for fuck's sake. Like anybody who is not, like you, like you said, a straight white male billionaire, is gonna suffer the consequences of all of this.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what to do about that, but
I mean, what about you? Have you like, when you think about how or when to decide this for yourself and, for your life, for you and your husband, like, what are your thoughts? Do you have a plan?
I think yeah, I think the hill that I will die on, the turning point for me will probably be if and when they come for same-sex marriage. I think, I don't know how it's they could possibly dismantle that because so many things in this country are intertwined with the institution of marriage.
Mhm.
Real estate and banking and other finances and hospital rights and whatever. There's lots and lots of things that are intertwined with that, that to walk that back would be Herculean in scope. But what I think I honestly would not put it I wouldn't put anything past this administration
Oh god, no.
to try. But I think that is gonna be the turning point for me is and probably the both of us, like my husband and I both, we will probably then have to seriously consider, like, what is it going to look like? And thankfully, like, we have some legal protections in place where we have power of attorney on file and, it's all notarized and all that. And so we have like kind of like backup legal things that will help keep us contained as a couple. But if they're literally attacking me and my rights and my way of life, I feel like I can't stay here. And we
Mhm.
may have the resources to do that, to actually leave, but I'm going to miss all of my family and my friends and my clients and everything my whole way of life. It's not a small thing to consider
God,
that.
no. No. Mm-mm.
So I mean, that might be it. That might, we don't have hard plans yet, but I will admit to having property come in through my social media feeds in other countries, and I'm like, we could afford that. Maybe we could buy that. I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard to really seriously consider it.
I think too, I don't know about other people, but it has given me a deeper sense of empathy of what other people in much worse predicaments at this very moment have
Hmm.
to consider when they decide to leave their home countries.
Yeah.
I know that we still are in a very privileged position compared to many people who flee their home countries. So
Yeah.
that is not lost on me. I definitely do not want to negate that experience. However, it should never have to get that bad. And I don't like the fact that it's as bad as it is currently. And
Yeah.
that's just that's uh, un-American. I don't know.
Fathomable un-American. Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The one thing that does give me a little faith,
Hmm.
I always, I don't know if this just I have to try and find hope is, like you were talking about ICE earlier, is that I did see that courts have ruled that at least over 40,000 arrests have been invalid illegal
Oh,
arrests.
good.
So the courts are holding up. The problem is they are flooding the field, and the courts are just backed up because there are so many ongoing lawsuits on
Yeah.
top of lawsuits, on top of action, on top of da da da,
Hmm.
that it's just really hard to see these things actually feel like they're improving. And this administration is not afraid of doubling down, tripling down, and going even deeper into some sort of hellish abyss and
Hmm.
taking us all down with them, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we gotta I mean, something's gotta change. I just don't know what is going to happen. I don't know. I don't know how we continue to do this way. It's just yeah. There's so many unknowns right now, and I hate that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just wanna feel like I can breathe and not like I'm always getting anxiety, but the amount of I don't hate that we're having this conversation. Like,
No, I know. I'm right there with you. I get
I
it.
wanna leave this country on my own goddamn terms, not because I
Right.
fear for my safety, my legality, the people I
I know.
love safety. Yeah, so, oh well. We could talk forever.
So we don't have a solution. We have no answers. We're just saying protect yourselves, protect each other, stay vigilant, and just do your best, right?
Yeah.
To stay safe. Yeah.
Try
Yeah.
to be the American that you want our country to be. I think that that's the best thing any of us can do is trying to be
Yeah.
that, whatever that means, being free, speaking up, being there for your neighbor, and not backing down until you know that it's absolutely the time for you to take your toys and go to another country.
You know what? Here, this is what I'll say about this, and then we can move on from it. There's a sentiment, I guess, that's kind of floating around. It says, in order to be part of a village, you have to be a villager. And then it goes on to explain that you have to do the hard stuff. You have to show up for people. You have to stand up for people. You have to get involved, right? You have to help
Mhm.
people who need help. You have to shovel the driveway. You have to make the meal. You have to help push the car that's stalled. You have to, whatever, just the small little things that you might blow over, or you might be an inconvenience to you. Like, if you want to participate, you want to feel supported, you want to be part of something, you have to participate. And so
Mhm.
if you're not, maybe that's what I would say, right? Get involved.
Amen.
Yeah. Good. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's get pissed off. Uh,
Ready, done.
ready. Done. Okay. Great. Anger. Oh. Dude, I talk about anger almost daily, weekly.
Mm.
It's so available, I think, to people
Oh,
right now.
for sure.
You
For
seeing
sure.
this? Yeah, like you
Oh,
said, like
yeah.
anxious, right? We're all sort of spun up. We're all sort of on edge. We're all sort of like, but it's just, I just feel like we're boiling over left and right, more often than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You're seeing similar trends.
Yeah, it's definitely exacerbated. I mean,
Yeah,
I think people have had plenty of reasons to be angry for a long time, but it
yeah,
is definitely at a fever pitch in many
yeah,
ways.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so I always talk about it as like it's obviously relevant. The way that I talk about anger with clients a lot of times is that it's usually the phrase I usually use is, I say it's almost always a secondary emotion, and that what underpins that is some sort of pain or fear that
Mhm.
we're trying to protect, right? We don't like to feel disappointed. We don't like to feel powerless. We don't like to feel hurt by somebody. And so we let ourselves get pissed off because that's a powerful feeling, right? And we can
Mhm.
get loud, or we can get and so it helps us feel like we can overcome. But then it pushes people away at the same time. It undermines our connections, which is what we're all trying to thrive on, right? That's
Yeah.
what we're all, yeah. So I'm just seeing it just more often. I mean, a lot. It's men in particular, I think, and I'm not denigrating men. I think it's just more biologically available to us,
Well,
and then also,
societally too, that's celebrated in men.
and then also socially programmed in us, right? The joke, sort of the dark joke that I make is, it's the two feelings that men can show that are socially acceptable is we can be angry and we can be fine. And nobody wants to hear anything else from men about how they're feeling. And I hate that.
Is that true or is that what men think? Because I think a
So
lot of women go, "What are you really feeling? What is it?" So I'm curious what your
until
take is.
until their boyfriend is crying into his beer at the bar, and then they're uncomfortable.
That's
They
true.
want they want the soft, sensitive, but not in public, not in front of other people, right? This is what I'm saying about it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like it's
It
a
can be.
social, yeah. I agree. I try and show up as emotionally authentically as I can in most places, and I still feel uncomfortable showing that whole spectrum in front of anybody, everybody, right? Like it doesn't, I don't feel
Mhm.
like I have permission to emote authentically in every single scenario that I find myself in. I don't imagine you do either.
Mm. I think that is sort of the blessing of the mixed bag of being homosexual is and being one that can't easily
True.
conceal it, is
Mm-hmm.
that I actually do not feel chained to that as much as what I'm hearing you say. I think
Mm,
that if anything, it's given me way more room on the playground of my emotions because I see more people gravitate towards me because they're like, "Oh, he seems safe." And so I do think that
mm,
that's something that queer men are given versus the heterosexual, at least or seemingly presenting people. And yeah, so yeah, it's I think it's complicated, but I definitely think a lot of men do not feel that same freedom.
yeah. And I agree with you. I think we do as gay men. I think we do have more freedom to express ourselves. I think that example that I'm giving is like that's the messaging I got growing up.
Mm,
Was this is how you're supposed to behave, right? You don't have problems, you fix problems. But what that ends up doing is stunting our emotional growth.
yeah.
And then we turn some of that inward, or it boils over, or it, right? And then it becomes frustration and stress, and then it comes out a lot of times as anger, which is just, yeah, it's tough. And like I said, it undermines the connections that we have. How,
Mhm.
how do you, I feel like you talked a little bit about it, but like, how do you talk with your clients about anger? Well,
Yeah, I definitely similar to you,
yeah.
will mention how a lot of times anger is that secondary emotion. I usually make the sort of metaphor or analogy of it being the hard shell that
Mhm.
covers the true core of whatever's actually going on.
Oh, nice. I
However,
like that actually. Yeah.
yeah, I will say that with with men, it's a lot of times I'm helping them figure out what the alternatives to that emotional experience they're having is. And
Mhm.
with women, it's actually helping them give themselves permission to access that anger.
Oh,
Because a lot of
nice.
times I
Yeah.
hear that there are so many women who don't allow themselves to engage with it as rage. Usually it's internally turned on themselves. There's
Yeah.
so much self-hatred that is pressed upon women that I feel like it is my part of my duty to be like, "No, be mad if you're mad. Get
Yeah.
fucking angry. We can
Yeah.
talk about the rest later and get into those, feelings that get to come out after it, but unless you allow yourself to experience anger and truly allow it to be free, not explosively, not all the time, but
Mhm.
when justified, it truly can heal you. But there, we have to figure it out. Each person's different, right? Each person's profile of their relationship to anger and how much or how little they access it really does feel different, dependent on so many factors.
What's a healthy expression of anger?
I think being able to be with a loved one who you have emotional safety with, which to me means that you have ongoing conversations about how you're feeling, that you have openness in communicating, and that you can be able to say things with anger, but not in a way that is hurting other people. I think
Mm.
sometimes what a person's angry about hurts somebody, but that is different, in my opinion,
Mhm.
than being an asshole while you're angry. So you could be like, "You piece of shit, go fuck yourself." That's not productive.
Oh,
But
yeah,
if
no.
you're lying, right?
Yeah.
But if you're saying, "The way that this went down made me feel out of control, and I think that's bullshit, and I really wish you had listened to me when I brought that up."
Mm.
That to me is saying I am lit up, but also what I'm experiencing. It's not saying that it's all this person's fault. It's just saying this was why and what I interpret it. Now, eventually the anger has to go away. You can't stay angry. That's the
Right.
key.
Right.
You have to eventually get to the other side of that. But I think there's a lot of times where I know with myself that I would have these explosions of anger because I tried so hard to push them down. And
Oh,
then that became its own problem. And now I feel way less angry because I have been able to do a lot of work on that on myself in my own therapy and also just examining what the anger really was about in
yeah.
situations and whatnot.
I've seen that. If you don't mind me saying, I've seen that shift in you over the last 5 years.
You mean when I come down the hall and go, Jason, where's my coffee? No, just
No, no, obviously not. No, no. I just remember like when I first met you and getting to know you, like I did think you were more angry than I was, at least. Right.
oh, I could definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just had a more free relationship with it, maybe. And it was something that I think, I don't know if it was just the house I grew up in or being,
Mhm,
I was the oldest of three, and so the the line that I always got was I had to be the good example, and
mhm,
so I learned really early on like how to suppress what I was feeling, and in order to show my brothers the right way to behave or act
mm,
or something, right? And so anger was never really I never really got the message that that was appropriate. But
mm.
I feel like, I mean, not I feel like, I know that it is sometimes appropriate.
Yeah,
And I feel like even now it's even more with all the crazy shit happening, like it's even more appropriate.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just difficult to, I think when we feel it, when it comes on so suddenly or so strongly, it's difficult to remember to express it in words mainly,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like you, I
Yeah.
mean, you were describing that was I thought you did, that was a great example that you gave of like
Mhm.
showing how you can be spun up and you can express that out loud and you don't have to name call and you don't have to get violent and you don't have to, right, blame anybody. You're really just like, this is my experience of what's happening and I don't like it and I'm pissed off about it, right?
Yes, anger and violence, those 2 things should not mix. They need to
Yeah.
be separated in order for anger to actually be productive in any capacity.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, that's great. It was just a really good, a really good frame, I think, for that. I don't know that I ever, I don't that I put that much of a beat on it, but I like that. Yeah.
What about you? Like, what I know obviously you've mentioned your upbringing with it. Where
Yeah.
do you think you are with your own feelings around anger and your ability to express it?
Yeah. That's that weird thing that I mentioned earlier. Like, I don't know if I grew out of it or grew into it with it. Something. I have a different relationship with it now than I
Mhm.
did, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Um, I'm definitely far, I think I feel far less angry or I feel angry less often. Excuse me. Um, but I definitely still feel it. I think I quickly become introspective. I try and understand
Mm,
like why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, right? Or if I do know exactly what it is, then I just try and like get it out in some kind of way,
mhm.
um, so that I'm not carrying it around. Because I will quickly, my relationship to anger is I used to, I do this more often. I will turn it inwards. And then that becomes depression, like very
Yeah,
quickly
oh,
and easily
yeah.
becomes depression for me.
Mhm.
And so really just being present to it. Hey, I'm upset about this. I need to talk about it. Like, I don't like what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Like really getting it off my chest, expressing it. So I've learned to write that. I've learned to talk those things out.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I've really attenuated my relationship or the expression of my anger,
Yeah.
in that regard. So yeah, but it's been a long time coming. I was definitely pissed off in my early adulthood, and I think it was because I learned to suppress so much of what I was thinking. I had to learn how to how to express it in a healthy way.
I think suppression is honestly the gasoline behind a lot of unhealthy anger. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you look at almost any situation, I feel like it's when people are pushed to an edge due to suppressing
Mhm.
their humiliation, their rage, their trauma, their sadness, their
Yeah.
anxiety, whatever, that eventually it can, and sometimes does, become anger, rage, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also like this is a little theoretical maybe, but I think it's also what fueled so much of the violence and substance use issues of previous generations.
Oh, for sure.
Especially with men, right? But
Yeah.
they were not allowed to be anything but, again, angry or
Mhm.
fine. And so you have a whole range of emotions that you're just sitting on. Like, how do you not want to numb that? How do you not want to let that
Mhm.
explode at times?
Yeah.
How do you, yeah, yeah. So again, that's a guess, but it would definitely be worth a research paper, I think.
I'm sure there's been some people that
I'm
might
sure
have
somebody has. Yeah.
written about anger throughout time or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is a brand new subject that no one's ever heard of. News break. Collect Your Thoughts covers anger for the very first time in history.
What about so last question around this and we can move
Yeah.
on from it, but what do you do like when it's all just too much? Like when you are really spun up about something and there's nothing you can do about it.
If I'm really unsure, I need to either journal about it
Mm.
and just pour everything into it just to as girl Brene always talks about there are when we write things out, you can write as she calls a shitty first draft. And so
Oh yeah.
essentially
Hmm.
put the worst of what you are thinking about a situation. And then eventually you need to get it to a place if you choose to deliver this information to someone else, you need
Hmm.
to find a way to be able to say it in a way that is not deflecting responsibility, that is not purely blaming, and that is not derogatory. And that to me is helpful. And also I know I have people in my life that I know are the ones that they give me what I need when I'm angry. And when I say that, it's not like
Ooh.
they're like, yeah, fuck them. But it's like they let me sort of get
Yeah.
myself like, "Ah!" And then they're like, "Yeah, that really sucks. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so sorry." Whatever. They're giving me or if they feel the same way, they'll be like, "That's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit," or whatever. And just having someone give you that, "Yeah, no, you're right," but not in a way that's like, "Go set everything on fire. Yeah, let's blow this place apart."
But
Like it
validating. It's
yes, it's
validating,
validation.
maybe commiserating,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, but not encouraging violence.
Yes. People who are
Encouraging
not
fires.
uncomfortable with anger, but
Yeah.
also are not uncomfortable specifically with your anger. It's
Yeah.
really important for me to have those people because I need to be able to have it feels ugly to be that angry, but sometimes that's how it feels. It just feels like I need to get this ugly energy exercise from my body, and
Yeah.
now I just try to do it in ways that isn't going right at the target of that anger if it is a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So it's tricky, but it does take like you have to put buffers in there. I have to put buffers in there
Mhm.
in order for me to not be irresponsible with that anger, which I have done countless times in the past.
Yeah. That's,
What about
one
you?
of my that's one of my favorite ways to write an email is
Yeah.
a ragey first draft, and then I sleep on it, and then I look at it the next day, and I'm like, "Yep, I was pissed off about
Yeah.
that," right? And then I
Yeah.
can go
Yeah.
through and edit and get to the core of what I'm trying to express. But I do that. It'll, I'll write it out, I'll journal it. I have to express it in some way, really reckon with it, and
Mhm.
let some of the steam out. And typically, what that facilitates is one of two things. It's either I get to the pain that's underneath it, or I've expressed it and it's appropriate, and I don't.
Mhm.
And so then I decide what am I going to do,
Mhm.
right? Can I take action? And if I can't take action, if it's truly outside my control, then I think I try and comfort myself, distract myself with something funny, something else, right? Maybe a responsibility. I go clean, move my body
Mhm.
some way,
Mhm.
right? Just to like get that energy out a little bit extra, just to let it dissipate further. Those are my go-tos, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I'm definitely pissed off about this country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
About
just it's
some things. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of things right now, yeah. It
Yeah.
definitely it is a fuel for, I think, a lot of our clients. I know you've
Mm.
mentioned that with more and more conversations I almost see it in some clients who maybe they've never spoken about politics really before. There's this hesitance to even talk about it because I think because it isn't directly happening to them, they're not sure if that's the place to talk about it. But
Oh,
I'm like,
sure.
no, like this is
Yeah.
impacting everybody, and this is about our futures. It's about our rights. It's about so many things about morality, right?
Yeah.
And so if that is hitting you in a way where you need to talk about it, thank goodness my therapist is very good about letting me talk about it because it
You do
does
like your
go that
therapist.
route.
You talk about that
I do.
often. Yeah.
He's awesome. He's
Yeah, that's
good,
really
and
great.
yeah, he definitely gives me some form of dignity, I guess.
No, that's great. I like that.
Yeah.
I just realized something you just described kind of pokes at our final topic. So our final topic, as you know, but I'll just kind of reveal it for everybody. It was a post that I saw on Instagram a while back that I actually saved. I probably saved it like I don't know a year or more ago
Mm.
from a guy. His name is Rainier Wild, and he's the founder of the Creators Collective. And what that is it's a school and a community for what he describes as rebels, misfits, poets, artists, and ordinary radicals. Which I think
Mm.
there's something about that really resonated with me. Right? I feel like
Oh,
I
yeah.
I fit each one of those monikers in some way, shape, or form, or have in my life over
Yeah.
time. But he also hosts a podcast called The Creators Collective, which I was like, awesome, right? So hey,
Nice.
Rainier, new episodes Mondays. Check them out. But he talks about intimacy in this post, and something you said made me think it must be somebody that you really trust, that you maybe even have intimacy with, that you are able to trust with your anger,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
That's
Yeah.
not just anybody that you would give
No.
that to, or would be willing to tolerate that. You have to
No.
know them really well. You have to trust them that they're not going to turn it back around and beat on you with it, or right. So I
Yes.
just thought that was a kind of a cool, I don't know, segue or kind of a
Yeah.
cool tie in there. But so
Love that.
let me read a little bit from this post. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
So Rainier said, your ability to be intimate is directly tied to your capacity to sit with uncertainty. Take that first at face value. What do you think about that?
Oh, I absolutely. I think that you have to be able to be comfortable that the other side of whatever you're expressing in
Mm,
any form of intimacy is truly unknown until
mm,
it becomes known to you, right? Which I know
right.
sounds
Yeah.
sort of talking in circles, but it really is the truth. I think that's something that all of us want certainty in
Mm.
many ways, at least in the ways that feel most important or potentially scary, and you definitely have to surrender to the unknown when you
Yeah.
when you decide to engage in something intimate emotionally, physically, sexually,
Yeah.
whatever that is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. I think you talked right at what his point of this whole thing. So he goes on to say intimacy at its core is the act of being seen without guarantee. There is no assured return on investment, just like you were saying. There's no script that we have between people that ensures safety, that to love one another, whether it's through friendship or romance or partnership, is to enter a sacred unpredictability. That's the term he uses, which I really kind of resonated with me.
Mhm.
I mean, standing in front of that someone with your inner world exposed, knowing that they might not meet you there, that they might leave. And when we can't tolerate the distress of the unknown, this is the part that I thought also he described really well. When we can't tolerate that distress, we often collapse intimacy into forms of control,
Whew, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I see that all the time. We
Mhm.
pull
Mhm.
away, or we make a joke, or we might get angry, or we'll choose an irrelevant point in the whole thread of the conversation and make a meal out of that, when really it's about, no, it's that feeling that we're poking at right now, right? We see it
Yes.
in sessions, we see it in our personal relationships. Yeah, really, yeah,
Yes.
really resonant. Yeah. Do you have more you want to say?
Oh, yeah. I think that to truly have any kind of intimacy, you have to have trust,
Mm.
and trust is something that I don't know if enough people are doing the work on building and nurturing what that even looks like. And part of it is sometimes almost chicken and the egg with it is that
Hmm.
intimacy does build trust, but you can't just throw someone or coerce someone into an intimate moment without it being earned in a way that works for both sides of it, because sometimes you can come at somebody with a lot of energy and they may not be there in that with you, or you don't have the relationship for that, and then you end
Right.
up potentially on the other side of it going, oh shit, I like dumped my guts out to this person,
Hmm.
and they're just like, I gotta peace out, like
Hmm.
that's
I
weird,
can't handle
bye.
that.
Right. I can't handle
Hmm.
that. And that, that for reasons there's fault or responsibility on both sides of that, but we have to be able to understand what it means to trust, and in that intimacy can grow, but then also you have to do the things that are intimate to grow that. So it's
Yeah.
again, it's that it can't just be the theory, it has to be the practice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So let me finish the quote here. This the last thing that he says about this is
Mhm.
true closeness lives beyond safety. That you have to stay in the conversation even when it gets gritty.
Yep.
Like, yep, that's exactly right. I talk about
Every
this.
time.
So yeah, no, I talk about this. I talk about intimacy pretty often in our work as well. I say to my clients, so I don't subscribe to a ton of universals where humans are concerned, right? But what I say is this is one of them, and I think we're all as adults, we're all looking for in our relationships safety, love, and intimacy. We want to feel safe to be who we are. We want to feel
Mhm.
physically, emotionally safe to be able to express ourselves, right? All the aspects of safety. We want to feel loved, so really
Mhm.
appreciated and that like we belong to another person or to a family. And we want to really be seen and known at a deep level. And
Yeah.
that's intimacy. Not
Mhm.
all of us have the stomach for that. And our modern world, I don't really feel like promotes that tolerance of uncertainty that we're talking about, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that's part of the reason we are in this predicament in our country going full
Yeah,
circle is
yeah.
because I literally think frequently about what happened to these mostly men that they did not get something growing
Mm,
up that then turned into seeking validation through means of coercion, of power over, with whatever manipulation. And what would have happened if these men, as boys, as young men coming up, could have been given emotional intimacy in a way that was nurturing and secure and truly safe, as you mentioned.
Sean, what I didn't expect from this conversation was that you were going to make me have empathy for the assholes in power. You know, I'm an empathetic person. You just described a broken little boy, and I'm like, oh god damn it! Like
All of these
you,
assholes
I
are
know
broken little
you're
boys.
100%. I know you're right.
Absolutely.
I know you're right, and I don't want to think about them that way because they should have taken responsibility for those wounds many,
Correct.
many eons ago, and gotten healing, but they didn't have the opportunity, didn't have the necessity,
Some
didn't
of
have
it's
the.
very generational
Some of it
too.
is generational, sure, yeah, no, I get that, yeah, but I'm gonna sit here going, yeah, he was probably a really unhappy, really disconnected little boy.
I mean, that's why I think this the truth about
It's true though. It's yeah,
every dude that is fucked up in this
yeah,
way,
yeah,
or person in general. It's because they were not given what they needed to be
no, you're
able
right.
to have that safety, that intimacy. Because
Mhm.
usually those people who were bringing them up also did not have the ability or knowledge or understanding of what to do to create safety and emotional intimacy. It's this
Or
cycle.
or the tolerance for the uncertainty. right?
Oh, for sure. For
This is what we
sure.
call generational trauma, where
Yes.
we've got parents who are wounded and who exist and live in their trauma, right? And then recreate it with their next generation, and now
Yeah.
that person grows
Yep.
up and yeah, yeah. This is part of it's the blessing and the curse of our field. It is the thing that I think when I started to learn about psychology and relational health, it is the thing that pulled me in and made me go, "Oh my god, I understand people now, and I
Mm.
want to help them."
Mhm.
Sean, I understand people now, and I can't help all of them.
Because we know they have to help themselves,
I
right?
know. That's the brutal reality, is that people have to acknowledge that they are wounded and suffering and recreating this trauma for the next generation, or with the people around them.
Yeah.
And they have to be able to go, no, I'm going to do better.
Well, they're
But
they're looking for validation through these
of their
grand
pain.
stamps of look at me, I accomplished this and I did this and I have so much of this. And usually inside, it is that's what I tell people all the time.
Hmm.
This is something whether I don't know if this will help anybody out there. When people do fucked up things, there's a lot of times people go, "Oh, I can't wait to the day I get to see so and so get theirs." And I tell people frequently, most of the time you're not going to see people get theirs. A lot of times this happens behind closed doors
Hmm.
and or it may not appear that they ever get theirs. However, karmically, I believe they get theirs every single day with the lack of intimacy and connection in their lives that they will never know because they grew up or formed into that person they are. So therefore their karma is living a completely sad shell of a life that none of us who are actually trying to engage in humanity and
Hmm.
love and connection, they will never have those things. And to
Yeah.
me, that is something I would never want to surrender. I would never want to surrender those things to get to a higher state of living, being, existing, because to me, that would be completely empty for me. But I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of these guys know that. But
No.
that's not something for me to worry about. That's their comeuppance for them to fuck with one day.
It's, to me, like, this it's kind of the stark contrast that you're speaking to. I feel like it doesn't. It's this is a little reductionist, I'll admit, but I feel like what you're describing is like valuing like wealth over relationships in a
Mhm,
way, right?
mhm.
Like, we're saying material goods and success and accomplishment and the compilation of wealth in a lifetime is touted by so many people, especially in capitalist culture, right, as being the measure of success.
Yep.
And I don't think I have ever vibed with that definition. My
Mm-mm.
definition of success is satisfying close-knit relationships where I can be as real and broken and joyful and expressive as I possibly can be or would want to be. And then have
Yeah.
those people hold space for me. That's fucking success in my
Yes.
book, right? I think that's exactly what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, that will
Yeah.
be with you forever and ever. What are you gonna do? "Oh, look, I'm gonna hold all of my stocks?" Like, like, fuck that. Like, that's
Warm and fuzzy
awesome.
stocks.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Uh-huh.
my,
Yeah.
great,
Mhm.
Maserati. Okay,
Yeah.
well, is your Maserati going to hold you when your life is falling apart? I mean,
Yeah.
physically, yes,
Yeah.
but emotionally, no.
Maybe not. Yeah.
It's just a car,
Yeah.
and it's not just a friendship. It's not just a relationship. It's not just love, and those are things that intimacy will always give that you just can't get with stuff.
All right, here's my challenge, and we can kind of wrap this topic up with this. So let's imagine that you care about somebody,
Mhm.
and just, I know it's way outside your realm of imagination, but just imagine that you
Very
care
hard
about
for
somebody.
me. I hate most people. I love money and things. I do actually love money and things, but I know deep
And,
down in my
but people
heart,
more.
I love people
But
more.
right, people more.
People
Right.
more
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
pets more, people also.
People also sometimes, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
No, but so if somebody that you knew that you cared about was really struggling with creating and holding intimacy in their life, what advice would you give them?
Hmm. I think my first thing would be to first check in with them to see if that's something they're even catching. Because a lot of times there are people that don't even know that they are in an intimacy desert because
Really?
they've never known what lush intimacy life looks like. And
Wow.
so for me, it's about saying, from my third party perspective, I am seeing this from you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is your experience, but do you want more for yourself, or is this what your contentment looks like?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times if you have that inclination, if you do have that trust, again, I wouldn't just have this conversation with anybody.
No, no,
It
no, no.
really
Yeah.
is about saying, I love you, and I feel like you're sort of living in a sepia toned life
Huh.
that
Wow.
is not as good as what you actually deserve for your life and your heart and your soul.
Yeah.
And I wanna be a place for you to talk about that if that's ever something you wanna do.
Wow. Okay. It's a great answer. It's so different from I think how I think about this topic because I don't
Mm.
assume people don't know what it's
Oh,
like.
I think there's so many
But
people
I
who
feel
don't
like
know.
you're probably right. You're probably right. They don't know what deep connection looks or feels like, right? To allow themselves to be deeply seen and known is a completely foreign concept to so many people.
It's terrifying too. I mean, that's why
It is.
people
Yeah,
they're
it is.
afraid to engage in it is because it is so
Yeah.
scary. And because like that quote said above is that
Mm,
it's not guaranteed that there's going to be somebody on the other side of
yeah,
that shared attempt to build intimacy.
right.
And sometimes your heart will break, but also many times you will be surprised beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah. That's I do come back around to that. I probably said this on this podcast before, but I do believe that we all want a peaceful, comfortable existence where we get along with each other, right?
Absolutely.
And so I feel like that's a safe, quote unquote, safe assumption to make of most people. And then if you do want to connect with them, it is risky. You're going to have to allow that uncertainty, but they probably want to connect with you too. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they
So give it a
don't,
shot.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
that's hey, at
Yeah.
least you did your part as somebody that maybe tried to reach out.
Yeah.
Sometimes too, what I have found is and this is something I learned much, later in life, is that people sometimes you have to leave the thing at their door,
Mm,
and they might be like, you can take that with you," and I'm just kinda be like, "Well, you can just leave that there," and they might need a day or 2 to sit with that thing you just gave them,
huh.
and when they sit with it and mull it over, you will a lot of times have people come back and go, "That thing you mentioned,
Mm,
I actually am thinking about that more and dot, dot, dot." And conversations can happen from there. So I think there's something important about saying you may not get the immediate results, but like any good seeds, something will bloom eventually, even if it's not with you.
yeah. Yeah. I feel like you just left something at my door.
That was DoorDash.
Oh, it's DoorDash. Okay, sorry. Yeah, my Taco Bell's here. That's great. Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Okay, well, thanks for that. I feel like that was really good. That was a really good conversation around that,
Yeah,
around
oh, I
all of those
love
things. But
talking
yeah,
about that
yeah,
kind of stuff. I think
yeah,
that's part of what I believe this podcast hopefully is about is helping people find the words or the courage to talk about everyday human things that people feel hesitant to talk about.
yeah, yeah. Me too. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. What about some takeaways from today? What are you? What are you taking away from our topics from our collection?
Yeah, yeah. When really looking at this subject, it actually sort of tied into something that I had recently been lucky enough to sort of I like to think about things. I like to process things as I mentioned before. I'm a journaler
Mm,
and I'm kind of frequently in this place, especially because of the state of the world. I'm frequently challenging myself to not just go with my gut and then say fuck everything else because I think
mm,
that that is how we're in this place
yeah,
is because so many people have gone, well, I can't trust anybody else. So I'm just going to block everyone else out and I'm
yeah,
going to try and do it this way with my head down and fuck anybody that gets in my way. And sure, that's one way to do it, but I don't think that's ever what's going to be what gets us out of this. So
mhm,
in saying all that, what I want to put out there as a takeaway is when we feel strong emotions, I think it's super important to try and resist the urge to double down on how you feel. I think it's most important if you can do this to investigate and ask why. Why am I
mm,
feeling this way? Because a lot of times we are so in the heat of the thing that we
yeah,
don't even go and do the, well, what's actually being triggered here? Is it somebody misunderstanding me? And I always hate feeling misunderstood.
yeah,
Is it feeling left out? Is it here is a reminder of something I went through? And and when we go with the automatic response and we double down on it, we essentially are assuming the worst. And that's another big piece of this is we as people have to resist the urge to assume the worst. Because when we assume better, we might actually build trust and we actually might build better self-care than by continuing to just double down on I feel this way and therefore that's what it is. And instead we need to go feelings are not facts.
mhm,
Feelings are feelings can be data that help us
mhm,
understand what's going on, but it is not the full picture. It
yeah,
is not enough on your works cited page of life. You cannot purely come from a place of feelings only and not full information of what was going on in this angle, what was going on in that angle, my angle, and everything else. So my long-winded thing that I'm putting out there
takeaway,
is
yeah,
slow down. My takeaway is to slow down, assume the best, and just get curious. Don't
yeah,
jump to the worst case scenario.
yeah,
And or if it comes up for you, don't just go with it. Challenge it in
sure,
yourself.
yeah. I always say there's information in feelings.
Oh, absolutely there is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I mean. Data. That's
right, yeah,
feelings are data.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Okay. Yeah, solid.
What about you?
I'll do one for each. So, be a villager.
Mhm.
If you want a village, be a villager, right? Get involved, get your hands dirty, help your neighbor. I think it's going to make the US stronger. If we can really adopt this kind of across the board, right? This is really just showing up for one another. Ironically, it's also one of the core tenets of Christianity, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Just be a villager, be a villager. um, I would say what I was going to say, something very similar to what you were saying. Like investigate your anger, right? There's
Mhm.
information in that feeling. It is more than likely something painful or fearful that you don't want to feel. And that's what's protecting. So to see if you can get underneath that anger. That's my favorite takeaway for anger. And then take a risk, get
Mm.
uncomfortable with, right? And build some tolerance for connecting with people. Take a risk, share something with somebody who's close to you, see if they will follow you down to that level and connect with you at that deeper level. It's some of the most rewarding things that connections that I've made in my life, relationships that I've made in my life is taking that risk and being vulnerable enough to ask for intimacy. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nothing
Yeah.
ventured, nothing gained.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Okay. Good takeaways. Okay. So you alluded to before we started recording that you had a zinger of a secret question. So what do you got? Fire it up. I'm ready.
So, yes,
Ooh,
I've tried to be better today about being on top of my secret questions.
okay.
So,
Yeah. Great.
today here because I'm such a person of believing choice is one of the most important things that we can have. So I'm
Mm.
going to give you 3 questions,
Oh,
and I
geez.
want you to
Okay.
choose
Yeah.
which one you want to answer.
Oh, okay. Great.
So the first question is
My favorite
if
color
you
is blue. Sorry.
okay,
Sorry.
all right,
Sorry. Go ahead.
that was the first question. Second question, no, just kidding.
Okay. No.
All right, so the first question is if you were to become an expat, where would you move?
Mm.
The second question, how do you decide when to engage in emotional intimacy? And the third is, have you ever seen anger performed in film or television that felt cathartic as a viewer?
Oh, I love all of these questions.
I thought they were pretty good.
So, oh, God, okay, I'm just gonna try them all. Um, the first answer is probably the Mediterranean coast of Spain. I feel like I'm connected to myself and the planet when I'm in the Mediterranean Sea. I don't understand it.
Mhm.
It's a feeling like I've had in no other place. I just feel like I'm going to die there. It's fantastic.
Mm.
Like grow old and die there is what I mean. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
not gonna go there and drown or something. Like that's not what I'm talking about.
He's gonna go
Yeah.
skydiving, just
Yeah.
crash
No, no,
into
no.
the
Yeah, no.
ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed the question word at the beginning of the second one. Was it when or how?
How do you decide when to engage in emotional intimacy?
How do I decide when to engage in emotional intimacy? Um, I don't know that I have like a one methodology. I think
Oh, yeah.
it's probably from person to person and it's a felt experience. But I think it's when I feel the urge to be closer to that person.
Mm,
Like I want to spend more time with them or I want to get to know them at a deeper level. That's when I feel like I'm gonna share something more personal or I'm gonna show up in a more intimate way and see if they'll reciprocate, right? And
yeah.
so it's an urge that I would have. Sometimes I can tell a quick little story. So my friend Will, who I believe listens to the podcast, I took a risk and I met him before he moved into my old apartment building. This is back when we were very much younger. But I met him before he had signed a lease, and then I knew he was going to take the apartment, and I took a leap and I baked a loaf of banana bread and I wrote him a note on the day that I knew he'd be moving in and I left it at his door and we've been friends for 20 years now. Like
I love that.
it created, yeah, it created a connection that like I'm really grateful for. So,
Mm, that's so
and
great. No, that's more people need to
it
take
always makes me
emotional
cry.
risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so
Yeah.
sweet. And of course,
It's great. It's great.
yeah,
And he's
I've
great.
just been,
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean,
And then,
and he's
yeah.
terrorizing my life
And
still. No.
he's still one of my closest friends. No, for sure. And then the last question was cathartic anger in a film or a TV
Film
show?
or television. Yeah. Have you ever seen it
Yeah.
performed where you're like, oh my God, that was so rewarding? Like when they finally allowed that to happen on
To
screen.
boil over? Oh man, I don't know. I don't have a great memory for anger. I feel just because of my past
Yeah.
relationship with other people's anger, I have shied away from it. And so I think when things happen that are angry, I go, whoa. And if it's on screen, it's totally safe or whatever, but I don't feel like I remember a ton of them.
Mm.
Um, I was going to come up with an example, but the only thing I can come up with is the epic fight scene in Kill Bill
Well, I mean, which
between
one?
Uma Thurman and I know Al Driver is the character's name. What is her name?
Oh, Hannah, Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah. Yeah, between Uma Thurman and Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
It is my favorite. I know this is not the answer to your question, but 2 out of 3
No,
ain't bad. It's probably my favorite fight scene in any movie. It's when they're in
mhm.
the trailer just bashing the absolute shit out of each other. It
Like
is
throwing each other through walls.
through
Yeah.
walls, picking up a lamp, clocking in the head. Like it's so visceral and like so well choreographed. It
Yeah.
just blows me away every time I watch it. And I should say this. They just released, or he just released, I think Quentin Tarantino. He's calling it The Whole Bloody Affair. It's
Yes.
all 4.5 hours of Kill Bill, all edited into one movie.
And it's pretty awesome.
Fucking cool. Have you watched it?
Oh, yeah, I bought it.
No shit, really?
Oh, yeah, Kill Bill is, like, seriously in my, like, top of all time. Oh,
How
yeah.
have we never talked about this before? Or how do I not remember that we've talked
I
about
mean,
this
I was gonna
before?
say, I've mentioned it, it's
We
okay.
need to watch this thing together.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Done. Okay.
Yeah, bought it,
Perfect.
so happy to do
Perfect.
it.
Okay, great. Nice job. So, okay, my speaker question. Do you ever enjoy being angry?
Oh, yeah.
About
Oh,
but
yeah.
but about what? Like like what is the situation or what's the topic or where you just really you're like, I'm gonna get nice and riled up about this.
Well, first of all, that's the important part is it's not the forethought of, "Ooh, I can't wait."
Oh,
It's
okay.
more about what I have noticed sometimes, and this is definitely not a catch-all, this is
Mm.
very selected situations, is sometimes when I allow the anger to finally happen, I get clarity on a situation
Ooh.
that is so much better because I finally got out of the way of the bullet train of my anger that needed to come out in order for
Ooh.
me to get to the other side. Like, sometimes it truly makes me go, "Oh, wait, I see this from a point of view now because I've released this. I
Yeah.
see this with clear eyes. I'm not seeing this from a place of, I wish they or I wish I." It's more of, these are the facts, and now I
Yeah.
can see it because I've sort of just released everything that was it feels like that letting an atomic bomb go
Yeah.
and then being like, I don't know, like the cool walk away where the fire is behind you, and you're just like doing like this the strut to,
Yep.
some
Uh-huh.
cool
Yep.
music, like, the
Mhm.
Bad Blood video by Taylor Swift. And and so
Uh,
anyway, I just so yeah, like that to me is it's really it's interesting. It just happens
yeah.
sometimes, but it usually is something where I feel very like tormented or tortured about something, and I feel
Mm.
angry not only with that person for whatever I feel like their part in it was, but also at myself for allowing it to get to that part maybe in some way. And so it's yeah, it's sort of like I'm in a cage match with myself and that person, and then like the part of me that's like, all right, fuckers, go at it. Like, like
Yeah.
let it out. And then it's like, oh yes, I see it now. Like, I don't know. I can't really fully explain it, but that's at least my response, I guess.
I mean, you described a really great benefit to allowing anger to surface, right? Instead of suppressing it, and you're not talking about letting it get the best of you or having it be out of control, but you're really just
No,
allowing
no.
it to be expressed and then gain clarity from it. That's
Yes.
fantastic. I like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Well, what are you shouting out this week?
I am shouting out, I wanna give a major shout out to at the time that we recorded this,
Mm.
the Oscars just
Oh, yeah.
aired, and I will say I thought it was a pretty good ceremony. There were a lot of things spread out
Mm.
in terms of the trophies to the different movies. Some surprises happened that were great, but what I was most moved by were the in memoriam
Mm.
tribute
Yeah.
that they did for we lost so many amazing celebrities, and
So
it
many.
first started out with Rob Reiner's
Hmm.
tribute by Billy Crystal, and they ended it with this incredible shot of several actors who have had incredible parts in Rob Reiner's movies, all on stage together, looking up at a screen of him and his wife, who were unfortunately both murdered in
Yeah.
December. And so it was really beautiful. And then the one that really got me was Rachel McAdams did a tribute to Diane
Yeah.
Keaton, who played her mother in The Family Stone, which I've
Uh-huh.
talked about before on here.
Yeah.
And she also gave commentary around Catherine O'Hara as well, being a fellow
Mm.
Canadian.
Mhm.
And it was oh, I was sobbing. Like, I think what I realized was that I held so much more grief about these losses because these were people I've grown up with, and to know that they're no longer going to be producing new art, and
Yeah.
knowing how much these people impacted their peers. It's just the legacies they're incredible, and then, of course, the last one was Barbara Streisand doing a tribute for Robert Redford and singing "The Way
Oh,
We
wow.
Were" briefly at the end
Oh,
of it,
yeah.
and each one, they were it just felt like they truly allowed people to get a tiny window into these people we look up to or admire their talent on
Mhm.
screen. We get to see their humanity and what it means to work with people, collaborate, and when you lose a player in that ability to create this amazing escape known as television film, it just it is a great loss, and so I'm so thankful for all the art that's left behind, but I'm also deeply sad for the the loss that we've had. So,
Yeah.
just brilliant job on the Oscars for doing that. And lastly, about Conan O'Brien, he gave this really great opening monologue where he definitely got political. He had some fun, but he
Mm.
really ended it with the note on that while it can feel very jarring to do award shows during times like this when we're literally in war with so many the world's at war in so many ways, these celebrations are about optimism. These
Mm.
are about saying we believe in better days ahead, and
Yeah.
therefore we're going to celebrate the goodness we are creating. And I thought, like, what a great way to reframe what I think can sometimes seem silly or frivolous is to say, no, we're celebrating excellence and we're celebrating that despite all this, we have all these people from around the world coming together to create art, and we should absolutely continue to fight for it and celebrate it and hope for better days. So
Yeah.
it was beautiful. So that's my shout out.
That's nice. Yeah, I like that. I have a
Thanks.
feeling that as we continue to get older, those in memoriams are
Oh,
going to become more and more poignant. It's the people we grew up watching, right? They're just going to
oh
continue to
yeah,
get older, and then we're going to lose them all. I mean, that's life, but like that's
for
a
sure.
painful realization.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about yours? What's your shout out?
So my shout out is actually for somebody that you know, Elise Lunsford.
Who's that?
So she's one of our colleagues at the collective.
Oh,
She
I
is,
guess I'll have to meet her sometime.
yeah, yep. She works right down the hall, actually, right around the corner from you.
Do you think we should have her on the
Uh,
podcast?
maybe she's maybe joined us before a couple times. No,
Oh,
no, she gave a. So we are in the process of getting certified to be able to give trainings to professionals, and she gave one as part of that certification on Friday. She did an art therapy training, and it was really good. I already told her this in person and over text, but she did really an excellent job. Everything was so buttoned up, and the audience was engaged, and it was just really well executed, great pace, great everything, and I actually enjoyed myself, which I wasn't
that's great.
expecting. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just thought I'm like really proud of her and of us, and yeah, it just was great. So I'm shouting her out. Great job, Elise.
I will say, yes, I lied before. I do know Elise. In fact, I love Elise. And I mean, in our meetings,
Mm,
she frequently gives some of the best advice, things to think over when we're
mhm,
talking about case consultations.
mhm,
She is so, her brain just wraps around the information. She loves her research. So,
mhm.
and she's passionate. So I
Yeah.
know that from everything you said, I had a good feeling that it was going to be a great one. I'm sad that I missed it, but
Mm,
it also is of no surprise knowing how lucky we've been to be the recipients of that wisdom and that
mhm.
love for what she does. So kudos, Elise. Congratulations on a great training.
She's a she's our national treasure.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. All right. That's our show for the week. Sean, thanks as always for joining me. It was a
Yeah, of
great
course.
convo. I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who's listening and watching. We always appreciate it. Please remember to always like and share and talk about us and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Collect Your Thoughts Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Collect Your Thoughts. So all the places
Yep.
you can look and find us. Please give us some shout outs and some love. So, and obviously we always want to just remind everybody to take a deep breath, and
Collect your thoughts.
thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.